saying that last thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here we are again. Oh yeah, listen. Sometimes I wonder what I do, yeah. And then I see your fucking face looking back at me. But not really, cause it's a podcast, but you see, I do it all for you. When you're getting 7 minutes in heaven for more like 7 seconds. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, it's just only 7 seconds, cause I really like you this time. And I just, it's been a while, and let's be honest, you were moving kind of fast, and I told you, hey, hold on 1 second. Oh, yeah. Listen, sometimes when you just play a sound and you're like, well, we're just going to go for it and see what the fuck comes out. That's what you get, ladies and gentlemen. You get some shit where I just got to be like, who said that? We all been there. We all been there in our career. Hey, it's just because I really like you a lot. Hey, take it as a compliment. Okay, I told you to get off, You know what the fuck I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you just gotta go there and be like, I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America. Okay? It's always a good tactic, young kings. Start counting the alphabet backwards. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive in these streets, okay? Stay woke. Not too woke, though. Wokeness can be a problem once you get too woke. I've kind of backtracked a little bit on wokeness in the sense of what's happening now, I don't think is wokeness. Wokeness used to be a good thing. Don't you guys remember that back in 2018? I feel like those were the glory years. And it probably started getting a little weird. I think whenever academia started popping off with a lot of the woke shit, that's when it got bad. But there's times where, because all wokeness is supposed to be is progressiveness, right? It's supposed to be progress and making people aware, waking them up. It's been woke has been completely hijacked by extreme left people and extreme right people, because how many times have you heard people call people sheeple? It's that's just popped off so many times, and then, it got hijacked. It got appropriated, because I feel like stay woke was a black thing. It was dope. It was cool to be yo, stay woke. And it usually was based on things that were happening in our community and in our community. We are the world, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. That happened in our world and people weren't aware of. And it was hey, when you do this, this is what happens. So be aware of what you're contributing to. If there's an injustice, just know that this is how you avoid it. This is how, if you want to look at everything, pay with your dollar. That's how you vote, baby. But the wokeness just got out of hand. It used to be dope. I used to support it a lot. And I'm trying to reel in a lot of what I've thought about it, because it's not a bad thing. And it's what separates people from having very weird or very extreme ideas about woke shit. Not all progress is bad. I support a lot of progress. I support, stopping Asian hate. I support, any kind of, shit where people are being treated not as equals, but only in the real sense of it. All right. There was so much shit during the whole Stop Asian Hate where it was just, they take it too far. Where the worst thing that can happen is Hollywood. I feel like Hollywood takes everything, and just by nature of what people in Hollywood are, they play pretend. They dress up and play imaginary. I don't need to take advice and gonna live my life by someone who dresses up as Peter Pan. Hey, Count Chocula, grow up. I actually don't know if who has played Peter Pan recently. All I know is from Hook and R.I.P. Robin Williams, and the cartoon version of Peter Pan, Neverland, or whatever it was. Phenomenal movie, okay? A lot of metaphors about life in that movie broken down by the great Jordan Peterson. But I feel like being woke is a good thing. We're all over here with this woke shit. I wasn't planning on talking about woke shit, but sometimes that's just what you got to do. You just got to explore these ideas. It's also a process for me. You know, sometimes when I'm doing these podcasts, I'm ironing out my own ideas, my own belief. You guys have seen me grow as an individual. You know, I'm a big boy now. You know? Good thing there's not like a take a drink every time Evan says, you know, on the podcast. I noticed that on stage too. When I would, here's what's dope about social media now. You can just do auto-generated captions. Whenever I post a clip of stand-up or something that I want captions on it, auto-generated. Fucking AI just took over and I'm like, cool, I'll let you have this one. But I start seeing that when I would do the captions myself, at the end of almost every fucking sentence, I'd be like, you know. And I'm like, oh, we got to stop that, you know. That's the important thing. Listen, it may seem like I like listening to myself and doing comedy, that I'm just like am in love with myself. Here's a secret, okay? Listen. Pick up, it's reality. I don't like watching myself. You know, I just said, you know, I like reviewing things and being like, is this good? Everything. But it's not like I sit there and laugh and just like cackle and grab my fucking belly full of jelly and like ho 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 over my own shit. I hate it. If I'm being honest with you, I have such a hard time editing clips of myself doing stand-up. I'm just like, oh, I will literally start sweating if I'm watching a stand-up clip of myself. I don't want to do it. But here's the thing. This is the truth. You gotta fucking do it. You know, there's been, I have hit a point with stand-up where it's almost like you're doing a job and I don't know what kind of job. Think of a metaphor real quick, Evan. You know, it's like being a cook. You have all these different steps to it, from buying the food to buying, you know, having the recipe out, turning on the stove, putting all the food in there, actually cooking it. But that's only a small portion of it. You put it out there on the plate and you give it to the customer. That's it. No. I feel like you got to taste the food. Either a chef always like tastes their food. I didn't even plan on the tasting part to be the metaphor of this. Either taste the food or get feedback from the people who ate the food. But I feel like a lot of good chefs always kind of test it and make sure, okay, this is good. And in stand-up, I think I was starting to forget to test my food. Just take a little spoon and go, okay. But imagine if that process of tasting your own food, if you're a chef, isn't like, wow, that's delicious. What if it's like, just by nature of knowing that you cooked it, you're like, okay, I can taste the flavor, but there's also dog shit in it because it's me. You know? That's what it's like having to watch your own stand-up or listen to your own sets. It's brutal. I don't like the process, but it's been something that I've been avoiding for a while, is listening to every set, reactions, also my delivery. And it's just been a part of it I've been overlooking for a while now. I used to always listen to sets before the pandemic. I'd record every single set, play it back, usually on the way home, while I was still in the fresh mindset of what just happened. And then like I can edit right there and like think about it and then, you know, make adjustments. I might pull over and just like change a bit idea. You know, if I said something that wasn't written down. That's also a great thing, is sometimes you just on the fly say a line that becomes a staple in a bit. But that's something I've been trying to focus on, is getting better at those uncomfortable things. Because I don't like looking at myself do stand up. I don't like listening to it, because people might like, the people who, I don't know. I don't even know if people who enjoy, like, I don't know anybody who's actually good at what they do that really enjoy that process, who could just sit there and stare at themselves and just be like, yeah, I'm fucking phenomenal. Oh, yeah, I'm killing this shit right now. Like, I don't think anybody who's actually good do that, who just think they're hilarious or try to have someone else watch their set for them. Hey, can you tell me what's going on here? Check out this. Wait, this part. But yeah, that's something we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. You're like, Evan, you were putting us to sleep with this stand-up talk. Hey, if you're not Dave Chappelle, if you're not one of the top touring comics in the country, don't tell us about your stand-up. Don't tell us about how you do it. Just come with the jokes, funny man. Make me a bicycle clown. Make me a bicycle. Okay. You got it, ladies and gentlemen. Something we do need to talk about that I feel like has just gone too far. Unless you've been living under a rock or you just don't care. And honestly, weird flex by Kanye West. That was foreshadowing. I just spoiled it. We were talking about Kanye West. There's been all this drama going on with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. This is so ridiculous. And it's news because your boy observes culture. I love to just see how things work. I'm the youngest in my family, and one thing my dad always told me was, being the youngest, you have the opportunity to see mistakes made and avoid them. And I think by nature, some people, whether they're born in a certain order or just how they are observant people. Your boy is a people watcher. You get me out there in the streets, I'm people watching. Put me in a restaurant, I'm people watching. Put me at an airport, I'm people watching. You get it? You take me bird watching, I'm bird and people watching. Bird and people watching, because I do like me some birds. All right, that is probably the oldest thing about me, is that I love a good bird. Love it. Show me a red cardinal, my willy will tingle for about 7 minutes. Anyway, I love to observe, it's a verb, things that happen and way things play out. Kanye West, obviously, biggest, in my opinion, uses samples better than anybody else ever has in music. What he did in the early 2000s, what he has done throughout his career up until, he's, even his albums he put out now still have a couple gems on there, a couple bangers, these samples. And that's always my thing with Kanye West. No one has used samples and mashed up samples in a more creative way. He is, by every sense of the word, a musical genius. Complete savant when it comes to music. Because, and this falls over into his entire life, when you see, I've said this before, there's great videos, hours and hours of footage showing, just type in Kanye West best samples. You'll find these compilations where it shows you the original sample, what he did with it. It'll show you multiple mashups, because not only will one song have just one sample, it'll have 5 or 6 samples that he pulled from different areas. And it's goddamn mind-blowing when I'm like, wow, this dude's brain is just on a different level. And like when you heard about his process, he would sit there and just listen all day. He'd be watching TV or something and just be in the studio, and he would just have samples playing in the background. And he literally would just be doing other things. And it was like this subconscious thing where he would hear these sounds and then he would start having ideas just come from them. Fucking makes my willy tingle when I hear about creative processes like that. But he would make these amazing songs, but they're so, you don't see it until it's all together. And I think that kind of genius doesn't translate to a normal life. I think you have a hard time living in a kind of like two-dimensional lifestyle, or, you know, just kind of like society's idea of what life is supposed to be, if you can't contain that to just that art form. Because I think that's what the issue is. I think Kanye, his ego has like gotten so out of control, and he didn't stick with what got him to the dance. He just, like, his ego overflowed. I think he had too many yes men. And I think it just, you start thinking that you're this genius in all aspects of life. And I think that's where Kanye went wrong. There, I said it. He went wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's hard. I think it's hard to manage that. And I think what's fucked up is when you get with somebody like Kim Kardashian. Now, I know she's done great things. I've seen the video. In life, she's done great things. She's accomplished things. I know she's gotten a lot of people out of jail. I know she's gotten people pardoned. I know she was going to law school, and she does these things that she wants to give back and be a good person, which I commend. She doesn't have to do that. She could continue to just fucking slang makeup and dresses and bikinis and whatever else they sell till the end of time and be good. They could probably stop doing everything and just only sell stuff, and they'd be good for the end of time. Their kids are probably already set. So I commend on trying to do something good. But here's the issue with Kanye getting involved in that kind of life. Their product is attention. What they sell is attention into their personal life. And something like that, you have to completely give away all control that you are going to have a normal life, that you are, like, I feel like that strains anything. Like, I couldn't imagine, and this is why I compartmentalize work and what I do a lot. Social media, all of that stuff, it's just me. I'm not having my personal life on there, my family. It's just, that's an aspect of it. And I make sure that doesn't cross over into my personal life, where when I'm at home, you know, it obviously, when you're working a lot and everything, it can cross over. But there's times I make sure, like, I keep everything separate, because I don't want to fall into the trap of I'm monetizing my personal life. Oh, I'm trying to get likes by posting my Valentine's. I'm like, oh, everybody's into this right now. Well, I probably could get the algorithm in my favor if I just start posting all these Valentine's pictures. If everybody could see that, this is my forever Valentine. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Do your thing. But that's also, I don't really care about that. There's so many influencers who just, like, all of a sudden they're just posting all this emotional, personal shit because they see it gets likes, it gets views. When people are posting, at least when their career is a certain thing and then they're using it, you're like, oh, you're trying to monetize your relationship. You're trying to monetize your fucking child. Blatantly, a lot of people monetize their goddamn pets. And the pets are fine, whatever, you know? I rescued my pet from a shelter. That is my animal, okay? She belongs to me. I got papers for her. I could pimp her out if I wanted to. But I don't. I feel like I would feel weird if I did that. And I do that just to balance my work, home, life. Like I just do all of that in a certain way to make sure things never get messy the best I can, you know? But I feel like when you're someone like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, you can't do that. It's gonna blow up. Every guy who's ever gotten around that family has gotten fucked up in some way, truthfully. And I think it's because that kind of attention and that kind of life is not healthy for a human being. That's the whole point of this. It has nothing to do with them personally. I don't know them. Maybe they're good people, but what they're monetizing isn't natural, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want. But I feel like if you are someone who's susceptible to ego and susceptible to all these things that Kanye is, you're going to have issues with it, you know, especially if you have the idea of you don't want your kids to be on this show and you don't want your kids to be exposed on social media and all this shit. But it's just gone too far. And you know what I secretly hoped? I hope that, you know, dude, one of the greatest albums of all time is 808 and Heartbreaks. Actually, My Dark Twisted Fantasy is probably, in my opinion, Kanye West's best album. But 808 and Heartbreaks has some of the best drums, obviously 808s. And it's because he was dealing with that pain again. Life wasn't like, he wasn't bored, which I feel like Yeezus and these other albums, he just got bored. Everything's cool, you know? Everything's cool, it's fine. And then there's like this self-destructive thing, or just the way life goes when you're dating someone like Kim Kardashian or Amber Rose. I don't know why I know so much about these people, but it just fucks it all up. And I think Kanye West music was so good, and I was like, oh, he ends things with Kim Kardashian. We getting that fire Kanye back. But no, what's happened? He's got kids with Kim, you know, good old Kim. He popped out some. And now he has devolved into like whatever the fuck this is, monetizing by any means necessary. He's out here trying to fight Pete Davidson. And you have to wonder, Kanye West is a marketing genius. If you want to be real about it, he knows how to market an album. He knows how to garner attention on his own. And for him, he'd be like, oh, you think, like, you know, I'm not going to capitalize on this situation if I have an album? You know, I'm not going to come out here and just try to generate as much attention as possible? But it almost seems manic in the way he's doing everything. He's out here trying to fight Pete Davidson. He's out here looking like an absent father taking his kids to the Super Bowl and being like, look how good these seats are I got us. The most awkward thing ever. And you know what's fucked up? I see this a lot now. These kids that are coming up right now, and this is why I'm like, hey, there might be hope for the future. They fucking hate having cameras put in their face. I see friends that post way too much of their kids online and their phones are just in their kids' face. And you can see the kids just like, no, like, what are you doing? Like, fucking have this moment with me, you know? So I bet there's going to be a weird thing where kids grow up and they just, they don't want any part of phones. They don't like cameras, and they might slingshot back the other direction, which I think is great. I think right now might be the most overindulged period of social media. I feel like we're at, I hope we're at like the peak, the magma of all this overstimulation and attention that we're going to have. And then maybe we'll learn how to coexist with social media and AI. Because listen, everybody wants to talk about how bad some stuff is. It's a beautiful thing. It's made it possible so that I can have a podcast, so that I can have a business, so I can do all these things I wouldn't have access to unless we had these platforms. But you just got to learn how to manage it. You can dance with the devil, but you got to know when the song dances. Fuck, we fucked that one up, didn't we? Yeah. Too slow. Fuck it. But Kanye West has reverted kind of weird. He literally is starting to tell, yeah, you want to know you have a toxic friend is when they're trying to get you to stop being friends with someone. He's going at Kid Cudi now. I think he took him off his album because he's friend with Pete Davidson. Hey, Kanye, you're out here fucking other women. Let it go. That's your ego getting in the way. Get back in the studio and do what you do best. Fucking make beats, baby. Okay? And he's doing all this manic shit for Kim Kardashian. Like he's really trying to get back with her and posting like he sent her a truck. Like Kim Kardashian's going to drive a fucking truck around. Pete Davidson's going to be driving at the fucking SNL on Friday night. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what we're even talking about. Hey, Evan, do a better podcast. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to run this story by you guys. Okay, we're gonna probably end on this topic. I'm gonna start introducing a new segment where I'm gonna be interviewing people. Okay, it might be part of the podcast. Maybe I'll put it in as a segment, but it's gonna be a YouTube video that I'm gonna start doing. If you have a story that you think people have to know, feel free to reach out. Give me the premise of the story and let's talk. But this premise is going to be called The Worst I Ever Bombed Offstage. Now, what's the idea of this? It's easy for me to sit here and tell you about the worst times I've bombed on stage. You know? You understand that, but what's something that everybody can relate to? The worst you ever bombed off stage. And I want to start interviewing other filmmakers because if you don't know, now you know, I run a video production business. Okay? I basically have 2 full-time jobs doing comedy and stand-up. Dude, that's how fucked up and overworked I am. Just said the same thing twice. Video production, stand-up. Burning the candle at both ends. When will I die from a heart attack? No one knows. Because we don't know how to not work anymore. The worst I ever bombed off stage. I want it to be about experiences that I've had in my job. At least the story that I'm going to tell. Aside doing video production, my company also offers photography. And I work mainly now with more corporate clients. But at the time, this was back in, I want to say 2015 or 2016. I was working this job. I was working with this creative agency, this guy who worked with bigger companies. And I would sometimes get booked on these jobs through him. You know, he would basically put me in touch with someone who needed this work, and I would do the job and get paid and everything. And it was the first time I'd ever done this. I took so many jobs when I first started my company that I had no idea how to do it. I'd say yes, and then I'd fucking be on YouTube trying to figure out how to do it. It is what it is. I'm one of those people who jump out of the plane and build a plane on the way down. Huh? What? Who said that? Wrong metaphor, Evan. But I was working this job. It was at a dance studio. And I was supposed to be there. And looking back on this, I charged way too little. I mean, I made decent money hourly, but I was there the entire day for, I want to say, 2 days in a row, filming and taking pictures of every single class from like 3 in the afternoon to like 10 at night. I was supposed to just capture every different class that they had from those times. And I want to say every class was like an hour, hour and a half. And then another class would come in a different style. They had like hip hop dance. They had ballet. They had tap dance. They had kids classes. They had like Russian dances and everything. Probably going to war with them. But that's for another podcast. And so I show up still pretty fresh with like doing business and everything. I get paid, I think, a deposit. I think for this, I think it was like $600 for the deposit and another $600 after. So I start shooting, and on the, I don't know if it was the first day or the second day, but when I get to the important parts of like near the end of the day, the guy comes up to me, like he's like, yeah, I really want to get these photos of this class. It's like the elite, and I'm doing this job. I have my extra batteries and everything like that. I'm supposed to be there all day. I get to the point where the class is about to start, and I'm taking pictures of everything, and all of a sudden my memory card goes full, and I go, okay, let me change in the other card because I had another one full, and I'm like, okay, well, let me get my spare backup. Put the spare backup camera hard drive in there, SD card, full, and then I put in another one, full. I had no more memory in my camera. Like, it was the worst feeling ever. Right as the class is like about to start, and I spent the next 3 hours at this dance studio pretending like I was taking pictures. It is, the worst feeling ever. And then you know what happens after the fucking class ends? The dance instructor comes up to me and goes, how'd it go? I said, good, man. I got some really special stuff. I think you're going to be pretty impressed with what I got. But I'm literally just walking around the room going, just pretending. It's not even making the clicking sound. And then I would walk around, I'd look at the camera, and I would just be like, okay. Like looking as if I'm looking at pictures. And that's the other thing, that the guy, I'd shown him other pictures, but he like was hinting that he wanted to see some pictures. And I was like, yeah, we'll take care of this for you. And I got lucky. It ended up working out the next day because I cleared everything. I made sure I was prepared. And I was able to get pictures of a very similar class. And then when I sent over everything, they never questioned about like, hey, when that one night, like they never figured out that I didn't end up filming at all that time. But that was like the worst feeling. That was an introduction to what it is, bombing on stage. Okay. Listen, after telling the story, I'm like, maybe we should have figured out some better punchlines. Okay. But not everything is going to be a home run. Yeah. Sometimes there's not as much of a payoff that you hoped on the podcast, but that's what it's free for. And sometimes I'll be telling jokes and they be not be hitting. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. We really got into that Kanye West stuff. And at the end of the day, I just want Kanye to come back with some fire music and get his head together. Because I don't like seeing one of your musical heroes just kind of like falling into despair. It's like watching a cat in the middle of the ocean on a melting iceberg is what I feel like when I see these people like start coming apart at the seams. And I'm like, no. Just keep it together, get balanced in your life, and just find a way to live, you know? It's like one of the best things that has happened is one of my favorite music artists is Eminem. And I remember, Relapse and everything, and I thought it was a cool album. But then it was like, you hear about, his overdoses and everything like that. And he was like in a tailspin and almost died. He had to be resuscitated. And then he comes back as this balanced person. You see him being like, no, I need to figure this out, because if not, I have so much rocket fuel. And if I don't fill a rocket to streamline this, everything's going to explode. And you see it now where he treats everything like a job. He's structured and he gets his shit done, and he's putting out phenomenal music. Listen, no one has the amount of output that Eminem has. Like, it's phenomenal. Like, what a treat. Like, how amazing that we didn't lose Eminem when he overdosed. Like, could you imagine if after Relapse Refill, he was just gone? We never got Recovery. We never got fucking Music to be Murdered by. We never got, what's the one with the fucking Crashing, which I think is one of the best lyrical albums. Kamikaze. I think it's great. Stepping Stone. But a time as D12 is over. Just imagine that was like a sound effect. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys get after. I hope you get balanced in your own life. We figure this shit out together. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.